Good evening, Danvers. I'd like to call the February 9th meeting of the school committee to order. If you'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The mission of the Danvers Public Schools states that we are creating a supportive environment where all learners thrive. This meeting is being broadcast on Danvers Community Access Television. Is anyone in the audience recording this meeting? Seeing none, we'll move to our first item on the agenda, and that's items of interest to the superintendent, school committee, community, and any public comment. Is there anyone who would like to give public comment? Julie, do I need to put the clock on? Thank you for being here.
Because I have my little guys with me tonight. Oh, childcare is getting a little turned upside down with the other meeting that I know is coming after this in the town. So again, for people who don't know me, my name's Julie Bolduc DeFilippo, and I am the proud chair of Danvers CPAC. Thank you so much for the thoughtfulness and time everybody put into the budget workshop. All the staff and teachers and everybody that was here, it was really clear how much time and dedication is put into putting those things together. I was really excited to get some outreach from other families and parents after the workshop and reading our letters and our statements, and specifically from parents of students that are now in high school or even have graduated, and sharing their experiences of how special ed worked in Danvers 10 years ago and more. And it's really clear how much progress has been made, and it's really clear that those are going to be long-standing impacts for those families of the things that their kids' needs weren't met. They were not feeling heard or validated. And so I think, just want to make sure that we're holding that as well. And also want to just speak to a point that a parent urged me to make sure was clear for the school committee. There will always be a need for out-of-district placements because diversity and disability specifically is so complex. And so the point is in-district programs I'm glad we're invested in building them so that we can meet the needs that should be met in district, like a para or reading instruction for, mild learning disabilities, those things in district. And the needs that can't be met in district, we will continue to have to meet them out of district. That's our, the commitment to honoring FAPE for those students. And it's not at all a reflection of capacity in terms of the students' capacity or teachers, staff, and administrators. It just simply is a reality of how complex human diversity is. And so the parent, rightfully so wanted me to make that clear that in-district programming will never replace out-of-district programming. They're just two very different things and meant to meet very different needs. And so CPAC isn't at all advocating for that. We want just like we know, the administration is really committed to making sure that students are appropriately placed in the least restrictive environment. I think on its face, the numbers that we saw last week, they're great. I just don't know. We can't know because of student privacy reasons. Does 2 out of 10 mean that we've kept 8 students out of district that should be? Like that's the questions that I look at that from a parent's perspective. And time will tell. It's going to take sort of looking at the trajectory of those students. We just know for a fact, though, if we do not meet needs early, they're going to get more intense. And so the opportunity is there. I think we're doing a great job. And I really urge you to continue the momentum by making sure the budget for special education really is as robust as it needs to be. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Anyone else? Paul?
Good evening. My name is Paul Pollack. I'm a member of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. I just wanted to remind everyone that last Saturday's event celebrating Black Pride in the country, actually, it was postponed because of the snowstorm. It's been rescheduled for February 21st at the Maple Street Church, same time, 5 to 7. Come, enjoy the food. It's a film festival about those that took part in the film industry way back. Okay, so all are welcome. Please show up if you can, February 21st at the church downtown. Okay. Any questions? No. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else, public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to the next item on the agenda, information.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh,
Information from the items of interest from the school committee.
sure.
I have been lucky enough to serve the town of Danvers for 25 years plus now as a member of the school committee. And the last couple have been as enjoyable as any as I've experienced. It's also sort of apropos for what I'm about to say that Sally Kearns is sitting in the audience. Sally was probably my first political friend in town because we go back to 1972 when we bonded over the George McGovern campaign while we were in middle school. Yeah, it's true. Hate to say it. I'm admitting just how old we are, Sally, but what can you do? Gardner Trask from the Selectmen is here, and he's here to honor the wonderful social studies department of the high school, which is going to be honored tonight, and deservedly so, and his daughter Lisa is a big part of that. It has been my honor. I have enjoyed this. It is also the year when my term is up. And after a lot of thought, I have decided that I will not be a candidate for re-election. I've served 25 years here. Before that, it was 3 years as a town meeting member. That doesn't mean I'm going away. I hope I can find another way to serve this town. I love Danvers. Everything I have in life is due to the start that I got in Danvers. So I'm not going away, but I think it's time to let someone occupy the seat for a few years, maybe the next 25. I guess, Gabe, you're the closest to the 25 next year. You going to try for it? No? Anyway, yeah. So thank you all. I just wanted to say that. And with your indulgence in April, maybe I'll have a little more to say at my last meeting.
Absolutely. Kind of caught me off guard. I didn't hear that coming. And thank you for those many years of service to the students and staff of the Danvers Public Schools.
Thank you. Been an honor.
We've been asked to make an adjustment to the agenda, so if you indulge us, we're going to move item 3D up, the Seat of Hope Award. Why don't we take care of that now, then we'll go to the student.
Great. If we could have Representative Cairns and Senator Lovely come up, please, for the presentation of the Seat of Hope Award.
This is a big night in Danvers because we have a special town meeting, many recognitions, our social studies department. Very proud of you all. We're here for a very special recognition of an amazing 9th grader, Grace Burnett, who is already making her mark in the world. Just by way of, I guess, legislative update, we could go on for a very long time, and we won't because there's so much happening in your meeting tonight. However, we are just beginning the budget process. The governor will bring her budget, has released it. Ways and Means Committee starts this Wednesday. That's the first salvo, as you know, in a very long process, but we're very mindful of, because Dan and his colleagues do such a phenomenal job, of the need for funding for special ed transportation in particular, and Chapter 70. We know that those are pinch points, so very mindful. Eric, like you threw a curveball. I didn't think that we'd also be recognizing you. We'll do that at another time, but I'm awfully happy for you and grateful for all you've brought to school committee
Thank
these
you,
many
Sally.
years. So we were going to talk literacy. We've done great things on an early literacy bill.
We want to maybe do the presentation and then
We can
back up if you want. Okay.
Okay, without further ado, I think many of you already know this story and why Grace Burnett has attracted attention, not because she is seeking credit. I think we've already learned she doesn't like to do that, but at the MLK event, Seed of Hope, the Move Like King event, which was spectacular, Grace received the first award, the Seed of Hope Award. And we are just awfully proud. And so we wanted you to know, Grace, and we wanted to let you know that we're going to read this. Do you want to come up? This is kind of, all right, this is fine. This is fine. Okay, ready? Okay, so do you want to say a word about the award?
Well, we were both at the MLK, like King, really incredibly moving event always, and even better this year. So proud to meet you then and to be able to officially recognize you tonight.
And I just have to add, because you are involved and have been with People to People Food Pantry, the Salem Food Hub has come to Salem.
Right. So the Greater Boston Food Bank, I think many probably know, has opened a very large distribution facility in Salem on Highland Avenue under the Salem Food Pantry that will now service all of our food pantries all across the North Shore and up into the Merrimack Valley, including People to People Food Pantries.
And they're still going to need you, so
That's right.
so don't go thinking, oh, they're not going to need me. So anyway, so Grace, this is from the House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers sincerest congratulations to Grace Burnett in recognition of starting and sustaining Grace Gives Back to help the Danvers People to People Food Pantry and earning the first Seed of Hope Award from the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors given February 9th of February 2026 at the State House, signed by Speaker Ron Mariano and Sally Kearns, your state rep. Very proud of you. Well done.
We have another citation from the Senate, and I will read it briefly. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Grace Burnett in recognition of starting and sustaining Grace Gives Back and earning the first Seed of Hope Award from the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its very best wishes for continued success, that this citation be signed by the President, and it is offered by me, your state senator. It is signed by our President, Karen Spilka. Congratulations, and keep up the amazing work. So, I'm going to give you these.
So,
Yes.
Sure,
it's a
sure.
pleasure.
oh, us? Really? In the picture? Do you want us? Just kidding.
Yeah, you're doing awesome. Would you like to get in there, family? They're calling you up.
So while everyone's taking their seats again, I just did want to note that in addition to Grace's great work, and I think part of the great work of this team behind me is that it creates a culture of civic mindedness and civic ownership and service to the community. So we have a number of young people. I know they're going to be recognized by the DPW for their artwork, many of them here tonight. And so we congratulate all of you. I won't read all the names. I'm sure you will all be reading the names. And also wanted to shout out a young woman named Allah Malani, who is a Project 351 service ambassador. And she will spend a whole year doing service. And I did not meet her, but I did attend the Project 351 launch. It's incredibly inspiring. She's an 8th grader. She's one of 351 8th graders who participate in that program. And it's a wonderful source of community service, but also pride, civic pride. So, and then final note, great honor to nominate Gabe Lopes for a Black Excellence on the Hill Award, and he'll be coming to the State House, I hope, pretty soon. I think it's on the 25th. It's the same day as the superintendent's breakfast. Sorry, can't make that one, but well aware of all of your concerns. So much to celebrate in the town of Danvers tonight educationally, so thank you, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will now go to the student representatives report. Olivia?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Just a few quick updates today. So today over at the high school, we had a blood drive, which we have quite frequently over the school year, every year. And we had 9 students and 11 adults that donated blood today. So we just wanted to thank them for doing that. And remember to always sign up. It's a great way to give back. We had senior Kaylin Hampy and junior Brooke Wilichowski. They attended the musical All States, and they both received the highest scores in the state. So just wanted to give them a big congratulations. And then yesterday, Kaylin performed at the Carnegie Music Hall in the prestigious High School Musical Festival. Same with the DHS ACTS. The Drama Festival is a student-written and directed play competition, and that is taking place on February 28th in Woburn. Not exactly sure where, but that's coming up as well. Looking at the sports, so we wanted to congratulate boys hockey, girls basketball, and boys basketball, who are all attending the NEC championships. Boys basketball is right there. They're very close to making it. And then indoor track, swimming, diving, and gymnastics, as well as wrestling, all wrapped up their seasons. They had great, fantastic seasons. Looking at the seniors, a lot of seniors are already committing to their schools. We have one going to Vanderbilt, one at Wake Forest, so lots of really prestigious, great schools. I'm attending URI. I just committed last week. Thank you. So I'm really excited about that, that a lot of students are wrapping up their decisions now. And we also have for the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, they're doing their course scheduling, picking what courses they'll take for the upcoming next year. And then back with the seniors, they're also picking their internships. So I'm hopefully interning at one of the schools here in the town, one of the elementary schools, so I'm really excited about that. But a lot of really great internships that are being picked and happening. And then my last little piece of information is for here, tomorrow night at HRMS is the Shark Tank Championships, and that's for the primary school winners led by the DECA students that are in charge of that project. So, thank you.
Thank you. Danvers electric calendar is next on our list.
Yes, could I have Ms. Bond and team come forward and recognize the wonderful artwork and our wonderful students?
So before we get started, any students who are here as calendar contest winners, if you'd like to come up and just line up front right here. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Bisconti. I'm with the Danvers DPW. Thank you so much for allowing me to present our 2026 DPW Student Calendar Contest winners. This year's calendar recognizes the creative talents of our 6th grade art students at the Holton Richmond Middle School and Miss Bonds and Miss Bain McNulty's classes, whose illustrations help demonstrate this year's topic of water conservation and water efficiency. Our winners, along with their classmates, learned about where Danvers drinking water comes from, how it's treated and delivered to our homes, and why it is so important to use water wisely. Students explored the difference between conserving water and using water-efficient tools, as well as simple ways families can save water indoors and outdoors. They also learned how protecting our water supply helps ensure we have enough for everyday needs and emergencies. After this discussion, students were encouraged to help educate the community through their artwork. Their illustrations highlight important messages such as fixing leaks, using water-saving appliances, collecting rainwater, and practicing responsible landscaping. These creative pieces remind residents that every drop counts and that small actions can make a big difference. Their hard work will help educate and inspire our community throughout the year, encouraging residents to be mindful of how they use water and help protect this essential resource for the future. So a big congratulations goes out to all of our participants and our contest winners, and thank you to the students and teachers for continuing to support this meaningful partnership each year. And I'm going to have Ms. Bond come up to help me read our names of our winners.
All right. Ms. Bain and I are very proud of all of our students. They worked really hard. I'm going to read off all the names. Not every student was able to come tonight, but we do want to recognize their names and make sure that everyone gets their awards. So when you guys hear your names, if you can come on up and get your award and then stand right over there so we can take a picture. Okay? All right. Quinn Lazaro. Juliana Bartha. Cameron Tat. Fiona Campbell. Abigail Oliphant. Callie Smith. Gabriella Reggio. Aubrey Hussey. Molly Hayes. Sana Ramsdell. Luca Silvestri. Danica Heron. Madison Lopes. Take a picture. There's my phone over there.
Why don't we have you bracket the students?
Okay.
Oh, hold a little higher, yes. Thank you, Ms. Maury. What would we do without you? That is awesome. Congratulations.
Next on the agenda is the DHS Social Studies Department recognition.
All right, if we could have Principal Alan Strauss come forth, as well as our prestigious Social Studies Department. Come on down, Social Studies Department. Come on up. Before Principal Strauss begins, I just want to say my personal congratulations. You never get to say former social studies teacher, you're always one at heart, and that's, I love walking the halls and certainly visiting social studies classes. They just really do so much, and to see the recognition is just unbelievable, and I'm very, very personally proud and very honored and very humbled by their work. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. When I came here in November, one of the things that I talked to you all about was we had to tell our story. And we've done that a lot, but what happens every day in the classroom is a story that's not told. For me, excellence is the bar. Nothing else matters. We have to be excellent in what we do on a regular basis. Yet that's very difficult to quantify. Yet, as a former social studies teacher, one of the things that I know is that the data never lies. It's not just watching them teach, it's seeing their numbers, it's seeing the number of students engaged, it's seeing their AP scores across the board. And so the opportunity to nominate this department was one of the easiest things I've ever had to do. The Massachusetts Council of Social Studies every year names a Department of the Year. And ironically, when I told the department that I had nominated them, they were very humble, they were very appreciative, and they kind of left it at that. And last night, watching that debacle in the Super Bowl, I realized that showing up or just being nominated wasn't enough. I wanted them to win. So to receive this is one of the biggest honors that they could receive individually, which they certainly deserve, but it's also really important for our school and for where we're going as a community. They are intellectually curious. They love history and the social sciences, and they love kids. That is an elixir for excellence. And I'm really proud to present 26-27 Social Studies Department of the Year from the Massachusetts Council of Social Studies. Would you like any of them to say anything?
I would, if they'd like to say anything, if you'd like to.
I'll say something. I've never been known not to say something. I don't mean to disregard any other subject teacher that my kids have had, from Thorpe to HRMS to Danvers High. They've had excellent education all the way through. But all three of my children connected to somebody or multiple people in the history department, social studies department. In fact, our youngest loves history, and because of his love of history, applied for a Gilda Lehrman scholarship at Marist University and received it because of his love of history due to these people. So well deserved, and I just appreciate the way you engage kids. Thank you.
I have something to say too, if I could, and I'll be brief. I've had the luck and the good fortune to get to know most of you in one form or another over the years, sometimes on the opposite side of a negotiating table. There you go. And Lisa, I think I met you when you were probably in middle school. I am so proud of all of you, and for years I've tried to say, especially when everything was about math and English and science, which is all important. Everything we do is important, but I often thought as a society, we sort of started to not pay attention to history, not pay enough attention to civics, not pay enough attention to what has gone before so we can put what happens to us now in context. And all of you have worked very hard to make that happen for our students. And I think we can see the danger that happens when we don't respect and learn from what has gone before. So I just thank you all so much for what you have done and what you continue to do for the students of Danvers High School. It's much appreciated.
So So as the teacher leader of the high school social studies department, I felt like I needed to say something. So thank you, first of all, to Principal Strauss for nominating us. It was quite an honor and a surprise, frankly, because to be honest, we're pretty humble people. We do love our craft. We love history. We love our students. And we show up every day because this is our vocation. This is what we do. And we're not looking for, recognition. We're just like, we put our hearts into it. And the other piece that I want to say is I am honored to work alongside these professionals. It's an outstanding group, and we make each other stronger. We lean on each other. We share materials. We share horror stories. There's some bad days in teaching. You might not realize that. But we work really well as a group as well, and I definitely want to say that I'm super I'm honored, and I feel such a privilege to have been able to lead this group for a few years now. So thank you all very much.
While you're getting ready for that, I just want to say that Ollie is going to school to become a teacher, and we're really proud of her. No, that's yours. Let's take one more. Perfect. I do have to say we have great departments all the way across the board. And I look at Meg with DECA and the work she does, we all know that. If every department in the state created awards, we would nominate all of ours. But Mass Council is the only one, I believe, that does it.
Thank you. Legislative update? I believe so. I think we still have a little bit more there. Legislative update. Yep. 75% of yours is already done, right?
Yes. The representative did that very well. I'm just going to add a couple of things. The first, thank yous. Thank you for what you do, all of you, educating Danvers students, past, present, and future. School committee is a hard job. Superintendent's a hard job. We recognize that, so we just want to say thank you. You put in a lot of time. You are boots on the ground to make it happen for your kids, for our kids. So we want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to my partner in the legislature. They don't get any better, and she's a Danvers girl through and through, so I follow her lead, and I'm grateful to be able to do that. So just quickly, the Senate just passed an early literacy bill. You may have seen it in the news, a little bit of it in the news, and it's because we're seeing that third graders are not meeting they're not reading at third grade level by the time they get to third grade, and we've seen some stats on that, on what that means. And really looking at the statistics, right now it's about 42% of third grade students across Mass are not meeting their expectations on the MCAS, English Language Arts exam. So Danvers' numbers are right in there. Every community's numbers are right in there. And it really is probably, we're seeing those numbers decline, and it really is COVID related. You know, we've seen it before COVID hit. The numbers were much higher for Danvers. It was over 67%. And now in 2025, it's 38%. It's across the board. It's not just this community. So the legislature, the Senate took a look and said, okay, we need to come up with a literacy bill. We need to do it better. We need to fund it. So it's not an unfunded mandate, which is a problem. You know, if we're passing bills and policy and then we're not funding you, that's not rare. I mean, that's not fair. That's not right. So we came up with a literacy bill, and the rep will talk about a financial literacy bill as well that we're working on together. to be able to put it, to give you the resources, educators, the administration, school committee, the resources to be able to put that into place. And what came up over and over during the debate in the Senate is phonics. We don't teach phonics anymore. It's kind of like the whole word reading. It's been a long time since I've, looked at, my children are in their 30s, so it's been a while. But we want to be able to give high quality literacy curriculum to our communities, professional development programming and trainings. That's what DESE will be doing. And working with school districts on what is the best fit for what you want to teach for these, to bring these third graders up to speed. Okay, I'll continue. And what we'll need from school districts in this bill is, it won't start until 26, 27, and there'll be a twice-a-year assessment for each third grader to see where they're, K to 3, see where they're at. And if there's, some students are struggling, there will be, to be able to inform parents, guardians about screening results, and there'll be data reporting requirements. DESE will come up with the curriculum, a variety, kind of a menu, whatever works best for a community. And again, we fund it. So that is, I've done a big high flyover with that, and I'm happy to send you the bill and really all of the data talking points so you can see that. Happy to share that. So we think that's going to help our communities and help our kids, and hope that you agree. And again, just want to say thank you. The representative already talked about the challenges with, again, flyover with Chapter 70, with special education, transportation. And the governor just put out her budget. The House will follow in April. The Senate will follow in May. This timing couldn't be more perfect. What are Danvers needs, so we can advocate that when we go in to meet with our Ways and Means chairs, respectively. That's where we're at. I'm not going to go into much more. I'm going to turn it over to the rep. But again, I just want to say thanks for all you do. We know how hard you work. We appreciate it.
Senator. So, sorry, not to put too fine a point on it, but the other literacy bill that we did, and by the way, no surprise that Danvers, I think all of my communities, Danvers, Peabody, Middleton, Topsfield, Wenham, all using the high-quality curricula that do teach, thank God, phonics. But my niece is 40, and I remember reading with her and saying, sound it out. And she looked at me like I had spoken a foreign language. And I was like, sound it out. So thank God the pendulum is swinging. But there are districts where they're not meeting the literacy needs of children. So thank God we're there. There's another literacy bill here that I just wanted to note. There's a guy, he's fairly recently out of high school. I'm going to say 6 years out of high school. Ryan Hamilton represents Methuen. And to hear him talk about the need for financial literacy, because he's 23 or 4 years old, their whole world is right here. And so even explaining a checking account and compound interest, those are kind of very basic, but kids now are bombarded with all kinds of financial products and instruments they might not know about. They might not even know that they are a sales product. A lot of people think of insurance as something not as a product that you buy. So this is a bill that will strengthen financial literacy, understanding of all the ways and the complexities of being a consumer, not just buying a house and having a checking account, but knowing about the Consumer Protection Board, knowing about credit scores, and on it goes. Knowing about crypto. That should be a short unit. Don't use crypto, but or don't at least ever get crypto out of a coin machine up at the Stop and Shop. So I'm happy that we're doing it, and it's just one way in which we're hearing younger people who are saying, hey, And in fact, when the education commissioner came, we were here, and then we went over to Peabody, and the 8th grader who was talking said, you know, like, we need to know about things like buying, like having an apartment. She was very well spoken. She's going to be running for mayor someday. And it was a reminder that young people are looking to us, and so anything we can do to better equip them to go out into that world, we should do. We are off to special town meeting, and thank you for the time. And I also want to echo Joan's comments, like, thank you. School committee is the hardest one. Oh, questions?
Chair? Yep. So I just want to say thank you. I know we'll have our legislative luncheon with the superintendents, but I know the advocacy for increasing circuit breaker funding, and last year the supplemental bill that brought the funding from, I think, 45 or 44% was hugely helpful for us. So we know that we're supported, and I know how hard your job is, but we really appreciate the advocacy on that piece. And I know the early literacy part, right, and the grant that we received for some of the tutoring has really made a huge difference, and I've seen it in action. So these are very important pieces, and I know you're doing the best that you can. We so appreciate it. I appreciate it because I know we have a great relationship, and our district is supported. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you to all of you. Really, you make it easy. And on a night like tonight, with our, unbelievable. Where'd they go? Oh.
Recognition of the students.
The students
From
and
your hard work.
really incredible.
Thank you. Any
Thank you.
other,
We're lucky. We're very
questions,
lucky to have
comments?
the districts we do.
I'll just say thank you for all you both do. I've always felt that it comes across that you, more than anything else, are in this for the right reasons, which is to make the world a better place, but in particular that part of the world that you can touch every day, including the town of Danvers. And if you're in it for the right reasons, I think that's half the battle. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Eric.
Lastly,
We'll always have 1972. Yeah.
on the 25th, can Gabe bring any guests on the 25th? 27th? 25th, I had it right.
Hold on.
I'll clear my calendar. Can you bring any guests?
Yes.
Thank you.
Friday.
Are we going to need security for you?
Thank you for being here, and thank you for your kind
Yes.
words.
Can you come? Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Always a delight.
Thank you.
Highlight of our week. Okay.
I think we're in unfinished business.
That is correct, sir. So we're moving forward. We have 4 policies that we are recommending for a second reading, and these all fall under the area of challenged instructional materials. And again, these were recommended by our council regarding challenges to instructional materials, revisions to the library material challenges, teaching on controversial topics and exemptions. They all fall into place. So we'll move forward. The first item is the instructional materials, the challenge instructional materials, looking for recommendation for a second reading. Again, this really creates a separate policy, and Assistant Superintendent Anderson really pushed forward with this recommendation. We appreciate her work on this. So want to make the recommendation for a second reading approval, please.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The next one is just clarity on the challenge library materials. Just the additional language to explain that nothing would be removed solely because they present viewpoints which some individuals may disagree. So we make the recommendation for second reading for challenge library materials.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next is the policy, just revisions and updating on controversial topics. This basically is just to look at creating a wide range of perspectives consistent with our district goals. So the recommendation is teach on controversial topics for a second reading.
So moved.
Second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And lastly, exemptions. This revised policy streamlines the language so that it applies uniformly to all required instructional materials. Initially, it was for health education, but it's a broader span. So we recommend the exemptions for second reading.
So moved. Seconded.
Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business.
Okay, up we have, I don't have a slide for the Great DECA overnight trip, but as we revised our challenge, as we revised our overnight and out-of-state field trip policy, so our teachers that move forward and our facilitators, they've gone through the process, and the last piece is final approval by the school committee. This has been in the consent agenda, but we want to bring this out in case there are any specific questions, because these are very important trips, and we know that a lot of work goes into it in a lot of areas, providing, obviously the great educational experience, but to ensure that there's equity for all students. So.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm Megan Bollier, the DECA advisor at the high school, and this March we will be attending it's the State Career Development Conference. There's about 4,000 students from across Massachusetts competing over 3 days. And Danvers is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, attending the conference with 129 students. So we have 129 students and 13 faculty members, which will be coming with us. It's a 10-to-1 ratio. And we stay in the Westin in the Seaport, and we will be competing in the convention center, the Menino Convention Center that's attached to the hotel. So I welcome any questions about the trip or things associated with it.
Are school committee members able to be chaperones?
Absolutely, if you wanted to. We would love to have you.
Any questions?
Everything you do is just great for those students who participate in DECA. They just get so much out of it, so full speed ahead.
Thank you, Eric. And congratulations. I was thinking back to the first time I had to speak and present. I think it was about 22 years ago, the first time we took one student away, and I remember answering one student to our international conference that year, and I remember standing up here for the first time presenting to Eric and how supportive you were from the start. So I know the support from you guys is what has allowed us to be able to grow and be successful. So it's meant a lot to us.
Everybody who's qualified to go, wants to go, can go.
Absolutely. Financial need is never a deterrent to coming to the conference. So we do things throughout the year. We have great support from DEEP. Our partnership with them is wonderful. This year for our state conference, we have 17 families that reached out for financial aid or scholarships, and everyone was provided with an opportunity to meet the need, and everyone is attending who chose to attend. Thank you. And we can't wait to see you tomorrow night. A couple of you are judging our event tomorrow night right here. So it's going to be a great opportunity for the community to come together, all 5 elementary schools. The 10 finalists will compete right on the stage behind you for our Shark Tank Championship. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Move to approve the DECA overnight field trip.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, next up we have our DHS Program of Studies. We have our Curriculum Director, Mr. Peter DeMauro, and Principal Alan Strauss.
Hello, good evening. So it is that time of year where we're looking ahead to next year and putting our program of studies together, including all new courses we're looking to add into our programming for next year. So the majority of the program of studies is staying relatively the same, but as we typically do, we just like to highlight all of the new offerings that we're planning to offer for next year, some of which we did give a preview in the budget presentation, so some of these may sound familiar. We actually just launched the course selection process. So we had grade level assemblies with all of our students. They picked their core classes, their electives. We met with 8th grade parents and families last Tuesday, which was great. I had the privilege of coming down here with one of our counselors to give an overview to the 8th grade parents and families. So we're all getting ready to go through with all of these course selections. So here are some of the additions that we're adding to the program of studies by department. We don't have to go into the nitty-gritty of each, but just a quick overview. For our ELA and Social Studies department, we're planning to add AP Research and AP African American History. As we talked about during the budget presentation, the AP Research course is a core component of the AP Diploma. So if students take the AP Seminar course and the AP Research course, they can graduate with an AP Diploma if they score a 3 or higher on both, which is a huge resume builder for them. We are adding the following in the Performing Arts Department, beginning band. For any student that gets to high school and has not learned an instrument yet, we don't want that to be a deterrent to them. So that's open to any student, grades 9 to 12, that would like to start playing an instrument in addition to our already existent marching band. We have Adaptive Performing Arts, which we're open to partner with our Performing Arts Department and our Special Ed Department, providing opportunities for students to take that course and partner with older students to serve as mentors in the class and students that may want to become teachers or special educators in the future. In our science department, we're adding AP Physics C. We already have AP Physics 1, so we're adding AP Physics C as well, which is just another rigorous course offering and involves students utilizing calculus along with the scientific concepts as they take the course. For world language, we're adding a more traditional Spanish Intermediate 4 course for students that want to take a full 4-year sequence of Spanish but may not want to take the leap and go into AP Spanish language and culture. So really it's just adding more options for students that want to continue their language acquisition, but at a level that may be more of a comfort level for them. For our PE department, we are offering Intro to Strength and Conditioning for an entry-level course for that. We already have one in existence for students that are more practiced and skilled in that area. And then to the business department, we're adding AP Business with Personal Finance. That will be taught by Ms. Bullier, who has already been using some of the materials and piloting it, so we're very excited about that. And what's exciting about that is that'll be a course offering that many students in our school can access regardless of their prerequisites or previous courses that they've taken. So we're excited to be able to have students take that as well.
We don't need that, Dan. I think it's important to understand that we were very intentional, and I go back to your question or your statement, Mr. Lopes, last time about what are we doing for the middle of the road kid? So every department is up here. So we wanted to make sure we have something for everybody, whether it's special education and music, all the way up to AP Physics C. So we're very excited about these course offerings. We're now going to be at 26 AP courses, which is the largest in the area and the only one with AP Diploma. So we're excited.
Since this needs a vote, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions, any concerns?
Just a comment?
Yeah.
I think, you know, I love to see all this, and we got a sneak peek of this during the budget, and the AP Business with Personal Finance I think is fantastic too. I mean, we just had our legislature partners come up and talk about that and talk about the need for that. And just speaking personally, when I first got into freshman year of college, and maybe there's someone in the audience that can relate to this as well. She was in the same boat that I was, but we, you know, you go in without a lot of business courses back when we graduated in the 90s, and it's like you don't have that. We didn't have that, but now that we're starting to see this, I think this is great. So, yeah, fully supported.
Since this is under new business, is this for a first reading or is this a first and final vote?
All we need is a vote.
Okay.
You're accepting.
There you go.
Nothing else? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Transportation music fee.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'd like to bring up David Pulsiver. He's our transportation coordinator. We've been analyzing our fees, as we mentioned in our last meeting, and David will give an overview for the bus fee cost analysis. We're not asking for a vote tonight. We just want to present the information, the research, in order to give some time to mull over if there's any public comment maybe for the next meeting necessary, and then take recommendations from the school committee to come back next month with a recommendation for a fee increase.
Yes, good evening. I'd just like to take a few minutes to go over a bus fee analysis review. Dan and I had discussed some ways to help offset some increased transportation costs. And if you can go to the next slide, I can start, just kind of give you a brief overview. So when I started asking questions, I said, oh, when was our last bus fee? And it took me some digging around, but 2012. So that was, 14 years ago now. And we are up into a new bus contract coming into FY '27. And we've all seen our transportation costs rising, not only in out of district, but also just the home to school side of things. Our bus contract, just like anything else, every year goes up a percentage. Hopefully we can get a good rate going into the school year, but last year our total fee for the 9 buses that we ran, well this year actually, is $691,000, minus the bus fees that we collect from the families, brings it down to our cost of a little over $500,000. We're currently transporting roughly 1,121 students in the district. And it's at 180, it's $1 a day, which is very economical for the families in the district. But there is some opportunity for us to recoup some of the higher costs. Break-even cost, if it was full price, would be $616. We're not looking to charge that, obviously. Just a kind of a visual of what it costs to transport a student home to school. And then on the other side of it here is an average of $270. I looked at some data from surrounding districts, and you can see that Danvers is really low, and I think Beverly is the highest at $315. So $270 is a good average. And Dan, you can go to the next slide. So what we're proposing is to increase it up to $250. I think that's a decent ask, and as an incentive, also going into the SY '27 registrations, if we offer a incentive for families to register early, they could save $50, and it would be $200, which is a good value. And what also that does is it gives the district a better idea on how many students we might have for the next year. That could be the difference of adding or removing a bus from the contract. And then from June 1st to July 15th, it would just be the full $250 rate. We have a family cap in the district of $540. I don't see any reason why that would change. And then just the proposal of generated increase of $70 would be $53,000 more in user fees that we would collect as a district, which is a small offset on an increased year on a transportation budget. That's a good buffer to kind of recoup some of any additional costs of a new contract in the district. And then, recommendations would be for you guys to vote next month. Is there any questions?
Just one quick question. Do we have, and maybe it's for Dan, but is there a hardship program? Like if we do, there is a hardship program, I'm assuming, right? Okay. Yes. So if people find this to be, too much or too steep, they can talk to somebody and figure it out.
Correct. We have a process for free and reduced, just like all across the board.
There is a financial waiver option, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Is that paid up front, or is that paid monthly?
It's paid up front.
Would that be an option possibly to pay monthly, or, no, because I'm looking at the number and it's, right, like you said, it's $1 a day. That would bring it up to $1.38 a day. So, if you were jumping on the silver line, but I know some people budgeting.
I think anything could be worked into that program, obviously. It just makes more sense to collect the fee up front, because then you have to chase more down, but I'm sure we could work, discuss that further.
I think oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, Gabe, please.
Just a thought. Seeing that we haven't like done any increases like over the years, would it be feasible or even consider like new families paying like a higher rate and grandfathering like families as they phase out? I know like that's a 12-year process, but I'm saying like a slight increase for current families and a higher increase for new families as they come in. Potentially, it's just an open question, something to consider. Maybe we do the math on that.
It's a good topic of discussion, right? There's no idea that's a bad idea. I think, you know, you guys, Danvers has had that fee for a long time, and it might just be a community thing. That's just a great option to, you know, be a member of, a citizen of Danvers, right, of the town. But there also, you know, is an opportunity to recoup some costs. So, you know, any questions that you guys might think of, or if I can get you any information, I'll be happy to connect with Dan and.
Not, cause, I mean, top of mind, the elementary is like the highest volume. Would I be correct in stating that, or where's the highest volume ridership come from?
So it's elementary is the highest volume, and then middle school is the next, and then high school is the least.
Right. Yeah. Okay, and then, I mean, I just see it as to kind of soften the blow to some existing families. When you're bringing in a new family, that fee is the fee. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, Gabe, you bring up a good point. The districts are not required financially to provide transportation for grade 6 and above. It's really just 6 and under. So, like, you could keep elementary at like one fee, and then like, you know, grades 9 through 12, you know, could pay a higher fee. So there is some options.
Yeah, like, you know, some ways of, you know, meeting our requirements, but also increasing it for the option.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not speaking for anyone's economics, but just seeing if there's a way of, without overcomplicating it,
sure,
creating an additional administrative burden. But I just want to put that there.
To the chair. So, you know, breaking this down, can understand, you know, that was part of our process too, is like, what is, you know, we certainly want to make sure that we, you know, try to do the best that we can to increase, but also, I think you just said it, you know, there's also a crossover with the administrative burden as well. We're going to make sure that we don't add to that piece, because we also have fees from other entities that we're collecting. So to have something that would be customized like monthly might be a challenge. You know, I know we have the fee waiver as well, but, you know, we're willing to take anything into consideration and come back with a recommendation. So, but we understand, and certainly if I can go back to the earlier slide, like, we certainly, you know, that's why we wanted to show the community comparisons. And I also, you know, we would be open to, if necessary, as we did for the pre-K, to do a 2-year incremental, if that would be something of interest. But I certainly know that, you know, since 2012, you know, we know that the fees have gone up, and we know we're getting a new contract. We're gonna do everything we can to consolidate, you know, down to maybe one more bus. So we're trying to be conservative, not to put an increased burden on families, but we're also trying to do the best that we can to at least keep the cost, you know, I mean, no matter what, we're paying more for the transportation. So we're doing everything we can to offset, which we feel is trying to be reasonable, and we still would be within our communities, still on the lower end. But again, I understand the piece of going from A to B. You know, if there's some incremental piece, we definitely would take a look at that.
You know, I think we all hate to raise fees, and that's why in Danvers we usually go a long time between fee increases. But given the rates of inflation, price of gas, and the likely cost of the bus contract, I don't see how we can avoid it. And I do like the fact that existing parents will have an option to keep that increase to $20, which is not bad. Having said that, you know, maybe as you look at increments, maybe you have, you know, something similar, maybe not just $200, but something for students who are new to the district, you know, after May 30th. Maybe you want to consider something there, maybe not. But those are just ideas. But I think we probably have to consider this.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Awesome.
Athletic user fee.
Okay. Our athletic director, Drew Betts, is on the way. They have their senior night for girls basketball. They're having an outstanding year. So he is on his way. We're going a little quicker. So I'll get started with the proposals as he comes in. We can jump into that. And Mr. Betts, perfect timing. How was the introductions and
Just kicking off, so
things are going well?
things are going well. Nice crowd, youth night, so good group.
He sure does.
Well, I got football, yeah. Well, it's funny. Anytime now I'm like doing something outside of work, I don't even actually have any clothes to wear. It's just like Danvers everything, and I live in Wakefield, so. All right, well, thank you guys again for kind of hearing me out on this. Hopefully you guys are able to sort of see these slides, but just wanted to put together a proposal to sort of address our user fee situation. So we use user fees for athletics to help sort of supplement coaching stipends and other parts of our athletic budget. So I put together, just for you guys to be able to see tonight, 3 different proposals with a different tiered system. So if we can kind of jump to...
Yep, I'll jump to the slides, and just to preface this, it's the same concept, just putting the proposal out tonight to talk through. Any suggestions and ideas will come back next month for a vote.
So with this, we have not increased or changed our user fees in about 12 to 13 years, so it's the 2012-2013 school year. But all of our coaching stipends, which are part of the DTA contract, have increased at the percentage rate of that year. In addition, we've also seen an increase in transportation, costs moving up. Officials are, increasing their rates at about a 7% increase. So our user fees have not shifted. So I think in terms of a value, it's still a very, very affordable cost for the product that you're participating in, whether it's a JV sport or a varsity sport. So that's where it's on this. You're able to see that it hasn't moved since the 2012-13 year. And that's what, as I kind of referenced before, what it's meant to help offset and cover. And with this, we took some information from other neighboring districts and tried to create 3 different options to sort of present to you guys. And in addition, the hope would be that by going with one of these 3 tiers, we're also able to sort of support our booster clubs by removing any coaching positions that they are supporting and funding. So that's that kind of that last piece. And then the other thing to note is we will still offer the opportunity for any student athletes and families that may need a financial waiver. That is something that would still very much be a part of this process. Because again, with an increase, we're not looking to exclude any student athletes or families from participation, but we're just trying to essentially align with the current expenses. So this is our current structure. We have it in a 4-tiered system, really more of a 3-tiered system. So we have our 3 high school sports, 3 tiers of high school, and then our 4th tier I've listed just as our middle school component. On there is a summary. You can see how much money we bring in per fees collected, but the growing gap. So traditionally when this will have started, the goal was to try and cover around 50% of coaching stipends in the DTA contract, and that's something that, because they continue to increase and our fees do not shift, that gap has continued to sort of widen. So this is our current structure. The first proposal that we put together is also in a similar setup. It's a 3-tiered system as well, with essentially just, So this is also something that you guys, so you can see what other local districts are currently charging. So you obviously see Beverly High School, you see Masco, which again, they have a little bit of a bigger range. You see a district that's lower than us in Peabody, but then you see Hamilton, Wenham, Swampscott, North Reading, Manchester, Essex, and how they do it in different ways. So some do it as a tiered sports system, some do it as a sport by sport, and others do it just one sport or one fee for across all sports. The first proposal provides a $30 increase for every sport, so it keeps our tiers exactly the same, with the exclusion of middle school, which would be a $25 increase, And then in addition, we also have a increase in our family cap from $745 to $1,000. This proposal would bring in a projected roughly $12,000 more in additional revenue, and it gets us a little bit closer to covering 50% of the coaching stipends as per originally, the goal behind it. Our second proposal is one that some neighboring districts like Ipswich and Linfield use. It is a one-time athletic fee of $600, and that doesn't matter if your student athlete were to participate in 1 sport, 2 sports, or 3 sports. So it's a model that's designed to encourage the multi-sport athlete. So it's like if you sign your child up for a fall sport, you're paying that $600. You might get to the spring and be like, hey, let's give another activity or another sport a try. And that's something that, again, has increased participation rates in some of the neighboring districts that do use it. But it does create some concerns for certain families that do emphasize the single sport model, because then you're paying $600 for 1 sport. In that proposal, you'll see that we would estimate bringing $270,000 in fees, which would be $125,000 additional revenue, which again puts us a little bit over that window, but it's also, we still remain very competitive and not on the lower side of NEC schools and other districts. So this proposal would actually get us over the 50% component of covering coaching stipends. And then the third and final, similar with the tiered models, the average increase for each sport would be $53.75. This has a little bit more round numbers, so it might be a little bit appealing on the eyes with seeing 300, 250, 200, and 150. But this would bring in an additional roughly $32,000 in revenue. And it would then it would also have, for all of these tiers, we would have a financial fee waiver. And that's something that we would have it as a reduced model from $100 at the high school to $50 at the middle school. So does anybody have any questions or anything that I can help kind of answer with the 3 just proposals that hopefully you guys all have an opportunity just to kind of see? And
On the third proposal, how close does it get you to the 50% stuff?
right now, that would get us over the 50%. And so that's something that it keeps in the same model that we're at right now. Similar, just because of those pieces continually going up on an every year basis. It would get us over for right now. My assumption is that would keep us over for, I would anticipate, about 4 years.
Thank you.
Just one quick question. Have we thought about doing a hybrid of a couple of these? Like, I was looking at this $600 one-time fee, right? That makes sense for somebody that's doing something every season, right? But for the one kid that's playing cross-country in the fall, that's not even close to making sense, right?
Correct, yeah. So I will say, so I used the NEC and the Cal, which is the Cape Ann League, and I essentially compiled all of their current models and tried to just take each system that's a little bit different. So it's like, that's where you see some of them have like a low range, so you keep it in that tiered system. So if you are a cross-country runner, you do pay that. That's where like that first and second and third proposal might be a little bit more appealing to that group. But what Linfield and sort of Ipswich shared is that it's like it gets that cross-country runner to then do indoor and outdoor track, because as a parent, you spent $600, and now it's like, well, what else are we going to have you do? And so that is appealing more for the multi-sport model. But for some, in some cases, like there's other schools that will, if you were a hockey player, or if you're playing football, you're actually spending more than $600 even just on that one sport.
Right.
So long story long, I do think there could be a hybrid. I just haven't really seen a district that's done that.
Okay, thank you.
Do we know what percentage of our students just play one sport?
So we actually did that data, and right now it's right about 50%. We had this year or last year's numbers, because I can only speak to last year's because we haven't obviously gotten into our spring season of this year. But we had 77 3-sport athletes, and then we had about 182 sport athletes. So we had, that with 470 kids playing sports, it put us right around 50%.
Okay.
My hope is this year that would actually be increased, because we actually did, we had a no-cut policy in the fall, which increased our numbers substantially. And my hope would be that drives sort of our spring participation numbers up as well.
Are you locked into the $600 one-time fee? Because I'm looking at your third option, and I think you could maybe adjust that number to to drive your goal of getting more participation, make it more attractive for somebody who plays 2 or more sports.
In full transparency, none of these proposals like stand out as like really like eye-opening. I will say selfishly from a parent perspective, I'm never interested in charging more for activities, just as I sign my own kids up for summer camp and, you know, see what those come into play. But there isn't one of the proposals that stands out to me as like the strongest, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay.
And these fees are only paid by the actual athlete. So if a student doesn't play any sport, they don't pay anything.
That's correct.
Question, and this is something to consider. Have we ever thought about charging every single student that attends Danvers High School like a student activity fee to try to offset this? Because I feel that sports is something that contributes to the entire student body. And maybe it's a way of eliminating, you know, ticket sales during games, you know, specifically for students. That way they don't have to worry about, I mean, do students pay to go to the game? No, they don't. Okay, good. That's good to know.
We do have some students pay in certain ways. We do a ton of different nights to try and offset that, like a senior day game, so it targets a senior day class, or like Mr. Strauss will have said, like I'm covering students for this football game. So we do charge our students presently, but they do a lot to try and.
Oh, so they do. All right,
yeah.
so they are charged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just shaking my head because you can't charge all students for an activity that they don't participate in because of free and appropriate public education. That's main law.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get it. I was thinking like the university model where there's like a student activity fee, or maybe offer, you know, something where, you know, if students are paying per activity, but, you know, $20 or $30 for the year, they get a pass.
So we've actually, so to a credit of 2 senior classes ago, we do a Falcon Pass, and that's something that, to that, I think it was 2020, the class of 2023, they created it as part of their passion project, and it's $40, or I think this year was $30, and it got you into every single varsity home game with the exclusion of MIA tournament games, just because we don't control that.
Pay for that, yeah.
And I think it's honestly an outstanding idea. It's one that hasn't gotten as much traction, but we do try and do a ton of season passes also for parents as well. So it's like if you're a parent of I'll pick on basketball right now, you got 10 home games, and if you were spending $7 per that, you got a $185 user fee and are spending another $140 in tickets. So we always do season passes for families as well to help offset that cost.
Okay. No, I was just thinking figuring if we can't do that, but that would have been a really great way to, like, you know, you figure $10 a kid, that you're shaving $8,000 collectively, but I'll just leave it there. I guess we can't do it.
To the chair. Okay. So a couple of things. We're trying really hard to balance being realistic with increasing costs, but not declining participation. You know, obviously we value participation in all sports, but also in our fine arts, performing arts, because we do have fees associated with that as well. So we're trying to find a balance for that. Certainly, as the transportation, this doesn't come anywhere near covering all of our costs for athletics. And, you know, we're not going to be like some that are full pay unless there was a decision made and it was a community decision. So we value trying to bridge that gap. And we also know that, I didn't go through this with my children, but I also know if you go through a private AEU and things like that, that this is an incredible bargain. And the value that you get participating in your child's school sports is just unbelievable. So, you know, we know that contractually every year those stipends are going up, and we need to at least offset that, but this isn't anywhere near covering, you know, transportation, official fees, right, entrance fees and things like that that really have risen. So we're trying to be as reasonable as we can and stay within the region, because we don't want to deter students from participating. We also have the waivers for those that may qualify. So it's a line we're walking, so we're trying to be as creative as we can.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
You're up with the budget discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. Good luck tonight. Yeah. So I put together just I know you got this late, but we've been working with our team, and just really this is probably more of an update where we stand and still know we have a lot of work to do. Pam, if you want to come up, if you wouldn't mind. And Christine, I know you're in the audience as well in case there's any student services questions as well. So, yes, that'd be great. So we basically, at this stage, we want the feedback from the workshop and the subcommittee. We know how important it is to move forward with our specialized programming, right? It's critical. And really prioritize, our needs and balance that with student achievement. We have to do that both. We can't just have one, student services or student achievement. We need both. And we're really looking for ways to be creative with our funding and really tying it into our strategic plan, strategic priorities 2030. That's when our plan will be over with. We're also looking like, can we be phased in terms of some items that may not fit into the budget this year? And just really, the priorities that were presented are priorities, right? And whether we can fund them this year, next year, that doesn't mean they're not priorities. So we need to be loud and clear about that. So just getting back to the town goal, which is really to take both, innovation and excellence, as well as continuing the progress that we've made in our student service programming. We need to combine both, and I think we've done a good job with that. So I'm just giving you some quick updates. These are very, very, very rough numbers. I know we'll have a subcommittee on Thursday to refine this more. But if we look forward in terms of our obligations, we know that these are non-negotiables. Our salary line is a salary line, right? And right now that's at a 3.99. That's contractual increases for all employees, looking steps, lanes, every unit that we have. Teachers, instructional assistants, food service, administrative assistants. Also, we have our administrative team, and our non-salary student services, that's not negotiable either. And that's pretty substantial, and I'll point out why that is. We always have the out-of-district tuition and transportation. Those costs will continue. Private placements are in the double-digit range for increases, right? Our contracted services, we've used a lot of them to bring our programs, and we're looking to move off of those, but that still will be a reality next year. And last week, we're anticipating an increase from the consortium of 100,000, about 10%. That'll be finalized more in March and April, but we want to get ahead and put that into this budget. But I will tell you that when you look at the tuition line, like our numbers are down, but the costs are going up. So, and at the consortium, they're talking in terms of some of the programming, there is some declining enrollment, but their costs are growing up even higher. So they're trying to balance that piece. The non-salaries in yellow for a huge reason. There's still some work, and I got to thank Kristen Anderson for her work because she's trying to move we're going to take care of all the curriculum, and as it looks like right now, we can get it under grant funding. So that number is going to go down in that category. So that's why I'm just pointing that out. So that's just a placeholder now. But we're also counting for a 5% increase on the transportation contract. And the AED service and the vape detectors, that's in there because we feel that's important for safety. But that's in yellow because that number is probably going to come down, which is good news. Probably not a lot, but a lot of work has been done to move the grant stuff over. The offsets, right? What can we do to bring down our obligations? So what we're dealing with right now is we're trying to dig in deeper to circuit breaker. If we can increase that, that would bring down the obligations. Our grant funding, we're really working hard. Personnel, we're really, really digging into with retirements, attrition, reallocation, flexibility. So that means we may not fill some of our retirements, right? And there might be situations where people leave the district, we may not fill those positions. As we try to move in, we have to do that. The early retirement incentive is in the early phases, and that's a situation where we're looking for ways where we can creatively provide an incentive for those that are close to retirement. Almost 60% of our staff is at the top step right now, which is great. We have tons of experienced teachers, which is wonderful, but also for an organization, that step keeps moving up, and that we've been researching it, and we're very close to coming back and working with the school committee and providing an option on that. And I can talk more about that later, but the idea there is if it's feasible for us to move forward, we can save considerable amount of money this year without using this year's money and 5 years down the road. Okay. And then moving contracted services to positions, which we're trying our best to do that. Possible revenue, right? Now this is possible, right? Because this is important for later, Our school choice tuition isn't $225 this year, right? It was $74,000. We were very minimal. But we know that we certainly have room for growth there. You know, and it's possible, you know, a tuition, if you take this year's 74 and then you add on top of that, it could be easily 225 without taxing and exceeding and creating any issues within our schools. Right? The program has been successful, and it's also attractive for kids to come back into our district. Tuition and policy possibilities. That is talking about if our student service programs are strong enough and fully operational where they should be, we can bring in students from other districts that are looking to save money with placements, and we can do that for them. We're really, really, really close. And at that, you can bring in 50,000 plus per student, depending on the need of the service. We would never bring in more that would create a burden on our programming. And then user fees, we talked about the increases, but really those are just to kind of offset the cost. So why the possible revenue is important is because maybe the things that might not fall in right now that we can defer off and still come away this year with improving our programming. So right now, some of the offsets we're at is we're still real rough here. We currently have 7 retirements, and we're looking at our staffing needs and enrollment. We're pretty steady with our enrollment, which is great. But there are some areas where we may be able to collapse in areas which would reduce some of that piece. So I'm not fully prepared to give you a final number on that yet. The additional circuit breaker, we know that we have to dig in deeper there. That's a big area that if that all falls, that can really bring down, increase the offset for us. And then the non-salary reduction, the one-to-one, non-renewal of the Chromebook lease for the middle school would save a substantial amount of money. That doesn't mean we won't have technology. We will have technology, but that's an area that we can bring in some savings, and we know we need to change the model. What's in yellow right now is where we're at. Where I want to get to is the 2.8 million, right? That's optimal. We're getting close. The specialized programming, which we talked about that we need to get forth in this budget, are the instructional assistants to fully vet out several of our programs, right, to make sure that we meet compliance. And a number of them were funded through the EA grant, the SLP, and the team chair at the high school. We have to have those, right? And that's a substantial amount right there. But what I want to show to the team here is that we've been thinking really hard. So the reading teacher in the budget, we can keep that under Title I for another year because that's going to be level funded. The pathways director, that's a reallocation, will not cost us additional money. The BCBA for the elementary, the board certified behavior analyst, will pull that off contracted services, which is tremendous. The 2 teachers from the RISE and the SOAR program, will move them from Smith to the middle school to beef up the programming here. The Director of Strategic Initiatives, we have a funding source. The AP training is done. We have grant funding for that. That's all set. That's happening as we speak, actually. Department chairs to create stronger leadership within our schools, the middle and the high school, is just reallocation, won't cost us anything, and that's going to go a long way to move our schools. The ELL teacher that we need to meet compliance, we can continue grant funding on that, which is great. Curriculum, move that to grant funding. And the van driver, we're going to work through our transportation because that is a huge savings for us. So that, to me, is a lot. We've really worked hard. And I want to show this slide here, too, because I think when you look at where we were and where we are, we know we still have more work, but our specialized programming in terms of student services, we're really, really close. You know, and very proud of the work. You know, the SLP and the IAs for the Stride and Embark will bring us to a point where we'd be very close to franchising that out to bring in tuition. The RISE program, the elementary BCBA, and moving the teacher to the middle school and the IAs will bring us in a great position there. For the secondary school psychologist, we can move that to 1 more year and be strong. The SOAR program, you know, we have the special educators to boost that, and another one for the middle school. The team chairs is what we're really excited about, that, you know, we've established 2 at the elementary, 1 at the middle, and with this budget, we would push forth for 1 at the high school, and we're looking for creative ways to bring another one for the elementary. And then DHS 2030 priorities, which I think is important. Because I want people to see, like, we're moving the high school, but this does connect to the whole district. The curriculum we're moving forward, the math curriculum actually across the district. So it's not just across the district, which we need. I'm very proud of that. A lot of work on that. Our pathways programming, you don't see the check boxes because those are going to be in the following year anyway, right? Interventions, we are close to, and on the next slide we'll cover that. Early college, we're in it already, and the associate's degree pathway will be moving in a year, which we're real excited about. So here, this is where I know the committee asked, like, what can we move forward to strengthen our programming more? Some of these items, if you remember when I talked about revenue, that isn't there yet, but we can project out. For example, with tuition, choice, and if we're able to pull off the early retirement incentive, can fund these items, at least some of them, right? So the work-study program, we know we can do that. That's just adding stipends, right? The assistant principals, which is a big ask, but we know the importance of it. You know, can we use the phase-in approach and defer it and get one this year, possibly, and create a combined share AP at one of the schools that has the most need, right? I know that's something very important, and we're working hard to see if we can do that. The math specialist, we might be able to utilize some Title I, and we may not get in every school, but at least get this seated the best that we can. The team chair at the elementary, again, maybe we can combine that with the assistant principal to bring that in. Would be huge. The ACE program, which is the program at the high school for students who are struggling, that need a centralized programming, we think we can maybe do that with the deferral with reallocation and anticipated revenue. The lunch recess monitors, we're going to work hard with food service because we might be able to utilize some overages there to take care of that, which then might free up the opportunity for the digital literacy specialist. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a tight year, but the need is there, right? And we met with the principals earlier to talk about this, and our team, who's working really, really hard, in a year where districts around us are cutting, districts around us are in huge deficits, for us to move forward and to add these and keep within a reasonable line, and again, great support from the town. You know, I would be proud if we're able to do these things. But we have to be realistic, and we still have more work with the town. We've had a meeting with them. They gave us some guidance. We're not there yet. So I just know, like, if I put this up here for projections, this is not the final number. Not the final number. Remember, obligations may go down because of the curriculum, right, that's going to come out. That's going to happen. The offsets, if I can get that to 2.8, which we got a lot of work to do, the specialized programming is there. That still puts us under 6. Again, that's not a final number at all. And if I can get that down and keep bringing these programs in, I think we would be in a good shape, a good piece, right? Because, and again, the offsets that we need to talk about, the assessment for Essex Tech, although we will have fewer students attending, the assessment's up because of the transportation costs as well as the capital. So that's not seen in our budget, but that's a realistic obligation the town has. So we're trying to balance everything we can. Obviously, we have our subcommittee. We want to talk more in detail and get more feedback. And again, just as a reminder, you know, obviously we have the 13, 14-year average. This year is exceptional in many ways because of all the pressures, but we have so much momentum. We got to carry the ball across the goal line, but we also have to keep balancing the relationship we have with the school committee, with the town, advocate for our teachers and our families. So these are the things we have to do. The personnel, we got to really tighten that up. The non-salary requests, the circuit breaker, Pam is working really, really hard with our student services team, because if we could take out more of that, that's a huge, larger offset for us. Maybe we can get a few more things accomplished. The deferral planning is important for us, because that's not saying no, that's just saying that in this time when we have to bring this through March 1st to the town, you know, knowing that this is on the radar. Remember, last year in deferred, we were able to bring in a couple of items, such as the the literacy reading interventionist at the middle school. And we were able to get the team chair done through a few creative ways. And it was after the budget in a lot of ways. So the bottom line for us, though, as a school committee, we have to be on the same page on the 23rd of the budget hearing. So my ask for the committee is obviously, I serve at the will of the committee, and I will work hard with our team to bring the best budget that we all can be proud of. So when it comes on the 23rd, we're in a good place to move this forward, so that when you heard the commitment that CPAC has and the willingness and how close we were getting, I just want to say thank you to our great team for all the work they're doing, and I really wanted you to hear this update where we are, because I know you said to us we need to sharpen our pencils, and we are definitely willing to do that. So I'll stop there, because the next step is on Thursday for the subcommittee.
Thank you for the update. Any questions or discussion?
I think you're taking a very measured approach, a very smart approach to getting where you need to be, looking for everything you can possibly find to get us to a bottom line that allows us to actually make some forward move and continue the momentum that we have. So I would say keep doing what you're doing. I know you'll bring us the best budget you can. And I think working with the town will get to a place that will work to not just sort of keep status quo, but allow us to keep the momentum that you've all created.
Yeah, look, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, please. I think we're making progress here, I think, but one of the things that I like what we are doing is on some of those things like the assistant principal things, it's not no, never, it's no right now. So I think if we can kind of phase that in and even try one of those, I think, and then, we revisit in 28 or, for that budget and take a look at things. There's tons of different things in here that are the nice to have, but not mission critical. So I think we can look at it that way.
To the chair, if I may.
Yes.
So to that point, thank you, Josh, because currently with our team chairs as they are set in the elementaries, they're just so overwhelmed with everything that in a year, there could be possible shifts with those responsibilities too that might come in alignment. So that may help us down the road.
You good? All right, thank you. And let's talk about the school calendar. Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you. I think you probably have this that I didn't make a slide. I'm sorry. Ran out of time. It's in the, yes. I apologize for saving money. Oh, yes, it's in your folder, but I was going to make a slide and I ran out of time, but I'm happy with the chair if you'd like me just to go over the highlights of the calendar.
Quickly, please.
Yes, sir. So number one, with Labor Day beginning later, we will open school for our staff, those Wednesday, Thursday. School will start that Tuesday after Labor Day on the 8th. As we revised the calendar last year, there's only 2 early release days on the 8th and 9th. We moved the 3rd early release to December, right before December break, so that's consistent. The other thing is the Professional Development Day, January 15th, is consistent as this year. So that helps, get us up to speed quicker for the start of the school year. Everything else is basically the same format as the calendar this year. So really, there are no substantive changes. But we just need approval. Or anything else, any requests?
Motion to approve the school calendar.
Second?
Seconded.
Any discussion, any questions?
Yeah, I absolutely love having been employed for 28 years under 3 districts. I love the starting the Tuesday after Labor Day. I think that helps at the end of the year make some decisions on weekends and last day of school and prepping for the snow. So I appreciate that being put in there a couple years ago.
Seeing nothing else, all those in favor of accepting the school calendar, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Order of business, number 6, the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda. we have a second?
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I would move that we table the remaining items on the agenda until the next meeting in March.
I appreciate that suggestion. Hearing-
Second.
Is there anyone against that? Not seeing any, then I would, actually, before I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute, we need a second on the vote.
Oh, do we?
Okay.
I already second.
You did
Okay.
second it, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our next meeting will be on March 9th. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.